So I'm back, and today we are going to be starting the second half of the Star Wars review. Starting with the original trilogy now. This is Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And A New Hope, it's like, it's almost like Lucas had foresight when he originally named this movie. Because now, after watching the prequel trilogy, A New Hope takes on a whole new meaning. Because it's a new hope for the franchise. Because, the prequel trilogy, it's not a bad... I mean, I know I bitched about it, but it's not that bad, though. So this is the the widescreen limited edition, blah, 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 digitally remastered. This one actually has got the Lucas edition, which I know we all hate, and the theatrical. So I just now realized that it has the original theatrical release, which is really cool because I was about to tear this movie apart because of the Lucas influence in this one. So yeah, I grew up with this movie. Most of us did. It's a very good movie. I'm gonna kind of briefly talk about what Lucas did in this movie as the add-ons, because I don't think I really need to go into too much of the synopsis of this movie. Maybe you guys seen the prequel trilogy, maybe you guys were trying to stay loyal to the original ones, but I'm pretty sure everyone out there has seen this trilogy. So I'm just going to kind of give brief thoughts and what Lucas did to the film in this one. And the other ones too. But, Lucas went in and he remastered it and he added other things into it. Now there's, scenes where, there's more creatures and more stormtroopers in the background, I think there's more X-Wings at one point. And all of that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I don't find it necessary because the original movie was gold to begin with. So, I mean, you can't polish gold to be shinier. It's already done. I mean, he did a good job in the movie in the first place. I don't know why he felt the need to make it better, quote unquote. And then the Guido scene. I think we all know that Han shot first. That's what's made the character interesting right off the bat. And Lucas changed that in this one to make Han look less like a evil douchebag and more like I guess just anti-hero. I liked him as like a space pirate type, shady character. I liked that about him, and he did kind of detract from that a little bit. The scene that really bugs me in this one, though, more than the Guido scene, seriously, you just see the cells shift just a little bit. It was bad editing there. But what really bugged me was the Jabba the Hutt scene, because they added in the Jabba the Hutt scene in this one where you get he has an exchange with Han Solo right by the Millennium Falcon. Now, my issue with that is that the conversation that they have is almost identical to the conversation that Han Solo just had with Guido minutes before. And it makes no sense on why they would have that same conversation twice. It makes perfect sense why they cut that scene from the movie. Also, if you could tell that the Jabba the Hutt scene was filmed before the Guido scene, because you see Guido in the background. Yeah. makes no sense to me either. You get Boba Fett back there too. Which is cool. And some of the other bounty hunters, and that's okay. But like I said, the exchange that he just had with Guido is almost identical to the one he's having with Jabba the Hutt, and what. The couple things that are kind of confusing with that, not only the fact that Guido's in the background in a scene that's after he is dead, but also why Jabba wasn't upset with Han for killing Guido. He didn't seem to care. I know shady gangsters are like, oh yeah, whatever, lost a henchman, but at the same time, it was a henchman collecting a fee. Most mobsters wouldn't be like, oh, hey, one of my forcers got killed. Whatever. No, it's, hey, you killed my enforcer and you owe me money? Dude, you're done. So, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And also, not long after that, the stormtroopers started shooting at Han and the Millennium Falcon. And it's like, where did Jabba the Hutt go with his henchmen? You'd think that now that he just struck a deal with Han Solo to pay him back, that he would want to invest in making sure Han Solo succeeds in his mission, not get shot by stormtroopers right off the bat. So things like that didn't make sense, and I don't necessarily like anything that really. I'm okay with adding in the monsters and stuff in the background, but honestly, that's it. Everything else that he added in was crap. So I would rather not have it than have it. So, but overall, though, the movie in general still stays basically the same. Really, really awesome movie. I mean, if you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 4, I'm sorry. You're not a geek. It's official. You are not a geek if you have not seen Star Wars. I didn't say like Star Wars. Seen it. Because we've all seen it. Some people like it, some people hate it. That being said, this one is the boringest out of the original trilogy. Because there's a lot of character development and introducing new characters. So it is a very boring movie in comparison to the other two. It still has a lot of action, don't get me wrong, but just not quite the same. Even the lightsaber battle between Vader and Obi-Wan is very dull in comparison to what comes later on in this trilogy, and even the best fight scene in this trilogy is paled in comparison to the original trilogy because they're all like flying all up the ceiling and jumping down and really stupid shit, which I don't understand. If they could do it then, why couldn't they do it in the movies in the future? Although you could say Luke just doesn't have the right training and Vader just isn't enough of Vader left to do it. I don't know. Anyway, so all in all, it's a great movie. People, I kind of still go into the whole, really what happened that made the Empire so evil that everyone has to destroy it. I will continue to ask that question forever because, quite frankly, nothing in these movies paint them out to be really, really evil. Now, on occasion, they do some bad things, but you can't say the rebels don't either. Honestly, do you think there wasn't some innocent people that were just doing maintenance, working on the Death Star when they blew it up? Maybe not, but maybe. But, the same thing could happen, could be questioned about Alderaan, but, everyone says like, oh, well, that shows that they're evil. But for me, let's put America in their shoes. If they know there's a terrorist cell in a small town, they would probably bomb the small town. The Star Wars universe is is a universe, you know, an entire galaxy. So to them, a planet would be nothing more than a city. And Alderaan was filled with terrorists, rebels, and spies. So, you know, there's not that much of a difference between them blowing up the planet and us blowing up a city. I'm just saying. So, and I liked, I think it was How It Should Have Ended video. If you haven't seen that, check that out. But it's pretty funny when the Death Star gets to the Rebel Alliance and they're like, okay, we'll be in range in a few minutes, and they're like, no, let's just blow up the planet that's in the way. Rebel base is in range now. That was hilarious, and it makes you question why they didn't do that. So, all in all, it's a great movie. I do highly recommend it. For the theatrical release, I would give that an 8 out of 10. And then for the Lucas version, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 because it actually detracts from the story. It makes it less likable with those scenes added in. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's great. You get great characters. You know, Vader is really menacing. If you haven't seen the prequel trilogies, you know, this is the best place to start because you got Vader as a menacing villain that acts like a menacing villain, and you don't have that taint of emo Anakin still flowing over. There's there's not a single moment in any of these original trilogies where Vader is like, ooh, I loved her. You know, it's shit like that. I don't know. So, yeah. Really, really enjoy this movie. Like I said, 7 out of 10 for the Lucas version and 8 out of 10 for the original version. Like I said, I mean, it's a great movie. It's not perfect because it does have a slow pace to it. But it's a fun adventure. You know, you get introduced to Han, Luke, C-3PO, R2-D2. I don't care what you say. They didn't count in the original or in the prequel trilogy. They really get introduced in this one. This is where they shine. They pull off their characters much better in these movies, and they just fall short in the prequel. You know, I can't think, like I could imagine the prequel trilogy without those two. You could. I mean, there's not a scene in there where it's like, oh well, those guys are necessary. You know, yeah, there's that scene in Episode 1 where their ship got shot up and that little droids had to go out and service the wing. But honestly, you could have had the ship shot up and just been damaged enough that it had to land, rather than, oh, we have to send the droids out to fix it. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to have that, but you know, whatever. But this one, it's like, I mean, they're the main plot point for the entire story. You know, they were carrying the plans for the Death Star. And you know, like I said, I can't think of this movie without them. And yeah, it's a great movie. So, yeah, we'll talk about Empire Strikes Back next.